They once said water was life. Wall Street says it's an asset. For the first time in human history, you can trade the price of water just like oil, gold, or wheat. But behind the screens of modern finance, a quiet revolution is unfolding, one that asks the oldest question in civilization. Should anyone be allowed to profit from thirst? Welcome to the financial timeline, where money, power, and history collide, and nothing is ever as simple as it looks. Long before financial markets existed, water was not priced. It was worshipped. The Sumerians carved canals into Mesopotamia, turning mud into the world's first cities. Egypt lived and died by the rhythm of the Nile. One flood meant harvest. One drought meant collapse. The earliest laws in history, the Code of punished anyone who stole irrigation water. To deprive someone of water was to declare war. Rome built aqueducts that carried fresh water across mountains and valleys, feeding fountains, baths, and palaces. But even there, inequality crept in. The rich diverted water to private estates. The poor waited at public fountains. Water became infrastructure. Infrastructure became control. And control built empires, from medieval monasteries that owned river mills, to Islamic khanates blooming cities in deserts, to China's dynasties rising and falling on their ability to manage floods. The rule was universal. Whoever controlled water controlled civilization. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Water stopped being sacred. It became useful. Rivers turned into power sources for machines, mills, and factories. Cities exploded in size. Sanitation crises forced governments to build water networks that quietly became some of the most profitable utilities in history. Public need, private profit became the new formula. In the American West, cities like Los Angeles grew not where water existed, but where it could be taken. The Owens Valley water diversion drained an entire farming region to fill LAS reservoirs. Legal on paper, theft in practice. In the Middle East, the Jordan, Nile, and Tigris-Euphrates turned into geopolitical battlegrounds. Who gets to drink? Who gets to farm? Who gets to survive? In the late 20th century, something new happened. Under World Bank and IMF reforms, dozens of countries were pressured to privatize their water systems. The promise, efficiency. The result, soaring prices, shrinking access. The most infamous case, Cochabamba, Bolivia, 1999. Water rights were sold to a private consortium. Bills tripled. Even collecting rainwater became illegal. The people revolted. The government fell. The contract was cancelled. But the message was clear. Water had officially entered the global market. Where markets see something measurable, they see something tradable. California's droughts, agriculture, and climate volatility created the perfect laboratory for scarcity economics. So in 2020, the CME Group launched the world's first water futures contract, based on the Nasdaq Welles Water Index. For the first time ever, investors could bet on the price of water. Water was no longer just a human right. It was an asset class. Here's the truth. Local farmers aren't trading water futures. The real players are hedge funds, asset managers, and institutional investors. They're betting on scarcity. They profit when water becomes expensive. They profit when droughts get worse. Finance rewrites morality into math. Drought becomes opportunity. Thirst becomes yield. Scarcity becomes a business model. From Australia to Chile, from Spain to India, water markets are spreading. Nations with abundant water will gain new power. Nations without it will negotiate for rainfall the way they once negotiated for oil. The next world order may not be written by armies, but by hydrology. Supporters say water futures bring efficiency, but history says otherwise. Every market designed for stability eventually becomes a machine for speculation. Mortgage derivatives were meant to spread risk. They spread collapse. Carbon credits were meant to cut emissions. They became loopholes for polluters. The same story is now beginning with water. And when survival has a price, it can be denied. Every empire believed it could own nature. Every empire learned the same lesson. You can fence land, you can drill oil, but water moves, and it escapes every system that tries to contain it. Wall Street's bet isn't on water. It's on us, on our willingness to accept that even life itself can belong to those who can afford it. But history is clear. Any civilization that monetizes necessity eventually discovers that some things can't be traded, only lost. Because, in the end, you can't drink a futures contract. If this changed how you see money, hit subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.